Hi everyone, I'm Slash and Cut. Today I'll be showing you this knife again, talk a bit about it, and yeah, tell you a bit about my experiences in the US when I actually got this knife. So first of all, the knife. This is a special model 51. It is a let me show you the box. It is a 51-1301. Yeah, Benchmade Balisong Morpho, number 8 of 14. It's pretty much a 51 with a acid edge blade, and as you can see, the liners, well, the liners, that's not very clear, but the pocket clip is in the same style as the blade. You can see it is very unique looking. There were only 14 pieces made of this particular knife. I know 2 knives got sent to France by accident to an online dealer. 2 Frenchmen were lucky enough to buy one for the standard price, so the normal 51 price, and the rest were sold at a blade show, but I'm not sure which one exactly. I have no idea who else has these knives in their collection, and even if I did, I wouldn't really tell them without asking them first. Anyway, I'm not going to review this knife because it's just a 51 with a special blade. The story behind this knife is that Mike Sinclair, the head of design from Benchmade, I think, wanted to try acid etching out. He had a few green G10 handles laying around, and yeah, decided to make a couple of these knives. And the result is very well. It's a very nice looking piece. It's a nice collector's item. Now I got this knife at the OKCA. We held a competition there, and I was lucky enough to win. I got first place and won this knife. I'm really happy about it, and I wanted to make a video about it when this knife arrived, but due to some complications it took a while, but it finally arrived, so I'm happy. Yeah, I'm not going to review the knife as I said, but I will tell you briefly my opinion on the 51. I don't think it is a good flipper. It is way too light in my opinion. But what I do have to say is that it is a very fun flipper. It is like flipping a toy. I don't know. It doesn't feel cheap because it's very well made and it's sturdy and it's Benchmade quality, but it's so light it feels like flipping a toy. Pretty much like if you flip a Balio. You forget that it's a knife and it's just a plaything, even though it is a sharp knife. For flipping it is not ideal, it's way too light and the balance is a bit off, but it's enormously fun to flip. I'm not going to use this as a main flipper, but I will pick this up every now and then just to flip it for the hell of it. What I also want to mention is that it is a very good EDC in my opinion. I don't really carry Balisongs, but I can imagine that due to its lightweight, it is well, you won't notice when you carry it. It is extremely well produced. It is well made. It's a solid Balisong, and the D2 steel holds an edge very well. And yeah, it would be a great EDC. I'm not really a big fan of D2 steel because it does rust quite fast, and I live in a humid area. And well, if I don't oil my blades, they will rust. And if I were to use this knife, it would be, well, it would just be a rusty. Yeah, it would rust immediately. I do have, for example, I have a Kimura 1 lying around somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but just because I have it lying around here, it rusts. It's just so annoying. I will be oiling this knife, of course. Now, as a second part of this video, I decided to make a little vlog on my trip to America, just my experience, a few of my experiences, and yeah, the general feel of the trip. Not really things I did with the other flippers there. Of course, I met a bunch of great guys there, but just my personal experiences, what my first trip to the US actually, yeah, meant for me. People have asked me to do vlog type videos, which I find very strange because I'm not used to talking to a camera. Doing this is very awkward for me. I have no idea what I have to say. I probably should have made a few points to make the things more coherent and to get a bit of structure in my speech, because I have no idea how to keep you motivated to listen to what I have to say. Outside of flipping, I don't have, well, my opinion doesn't really matter, and I find it very weird to, yeah, you just sit here, talk to a camera, and yeah, expect people to listen. It's very weird, but it's been suggested, and well, I feel like doing it, so I might give it a shot. We'll see. We'll see what the result is. This is my first vlog, and it'll probably be very awkward. But anyway, here we go. So yeah, 8 months ago I had the chance to go to Oregon, my first trip to the US. I've never been outside of Europe, and it's the first time I pretty much had a chance to go on a holiday to an exotic location. People won't really find Oregon that exotic, maybe, but to me it was. I had the money at the time, and yeah, I had an excuse to travel. I don't know how much miles. I don't know, 6,000, 8,000 miles to meet a few of the other flippers, and yeah, I didn't know if I ever would have the chance to go and meet those flippers or go to the US, so I took the chance with both hands, and yeah, it really was a fun experience. Of course, if you want to go to the US, it's quite a hassle. You don't need a visa, but you need to sign a waiver. You have to promise you don't have a criminal record. They ask very particularly if you ever abducted a child to or from the US, for example in a divorce case where one of the parents tries to flee with a child. So that's something very strict and something they really ask for specifically, and I remember that thing in particular because it was so strange. But anyway, that's just filling in forms, and traveling to the US with a waiver system is very easy. If you have to go to the embassy to get a visa, it's expensive, time consuming, and very annoying. Well, this system is pretty much perfect. Of course, at the airport you do get questioned by border officers, and in Europe it was a very strict man, a very impressive person. It was yeah, you had a feeling when you're talking to him you have to answer all the questions immediately, quickly, at random, and yeah, if you're wrong or he thinks you're lying, you yeah, he might say, oh, you can't enter the country, or you can't leave the country, and it's, yeah, a very scary experience. When I landed in the US, on the other hand, same thing happens. You have to go to a border officer who checks your papers, and yeah, pretty much ask you a bunch of questions. The only difference there was it was a big guy from Texas, and yeah, it was very friendly. Extremely friendly. It was the nicest guy I met, pretty much. And And after I did after he asked me the questions, he started talking about the weather. He said, "Yeah, you're in Portland right now. The weather is not very nice. I'm from Texas. I'm used to the sun and all that crap." And yeah, I didn't expect someone in his position to talk about the weather to one of the people who enter the country. And we talked about the weather for 5 to 10 minutes. He apparently had a cousin in Ireland. And yeah, I really got to know him, and it was very strange. So the first experience was a very nice one. Other than that, yeah, you have to give your fingerprints. You have to yeah, go to those metal detectors where they see you naked, which is also a unique experience, if I have to be honest, because yeah, you stand there with your arms and your legs spread out, and you know that the people on the other side of the detector can see you naked, and it's yeah, it's not really humiliating, but it is a strange experience. I don't know, maybe they could make it more pleasant by giving you a fluffing zone right before you go into the detector, or I don't know, maybe they could pay you a compliment after you leave the detector, saying nice one sir or something like that, just to put you at ease. I think that would help. But anyway, those are just a few ideas. So then I finally reached my destination, but I arrived a day early. All the other flippers arrived one day later, so I was pretty jet lagged because it was a, I don't know, 10-hour flight or something. It was extremely long. You have the hassle with your luggage, the paperwork, your passport and stuff like that. It's very stressful, so I was tired. Decided to ask a cab for a place, if he could bring me to a place where I could spend the night. Um, and again, very friendly person. Decided to show me around town, um, which was Eugene, where in Oregon, where everything took place. Again, very fun experience. I didn't do much that day. I went to eat some Mexican food because I never actually had Mexican food. Mexicans are not that well, we don't have many Mexicans in Europe, so you don't have a lot of Mexican food. So decided to have that and then go to bed. The next day I was still alone in the US, and I decided to walk around a bit. I walked around for quite some time because I did get a quite a serious sunburn when I was in Oregon, which is very strange because it doesn't sound like the most sunny place, but it's 10 times better than where I live. So you can imagine a more darker, a more, well, a place where there's even worse weather than Oregon. That's pretty much where I live. Excuse me. So, I still had some time to kill. The other people arrived in the afternoon or evening or late at night. And, well, the hotel where I stayed was on the name of someone else, so I couldn't go there yet. So I decided to walk around, and after a while I found a nice spot at a river where I could sit and listen to music, and yeah, I don't need much more to wait a few hours. And yeah, there was some nice birds. I can't recall what kind, but yeah, there was a lot of nature. And yeah, I decided to wait there for a few hours. And after a while, there was a person who sat next to me, and I said, "Hi, how are you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing fine." A few others arrived, and I could tell by the way they were dressed that they were hippies. Now, if you know me a bit, you might know that I don't really like hippies. Well, I don't mind real hippies, but where I live there are a lot of what I call fake hippies. People with, yeah, who say they have some kind of principle or have come some, I can't talk. People who have, who tell you they have principles and actually they're just as fake as, yeah, as something fake. I can't find a good analogy. But anyway, so I was kind of, well, not worried, but I was doubtful of those people, which was in the end completely wrong, of course. And they were asking me if I was there for the water healing ceremony or something like this. And I was asking, no, no, I'm just a foreigner waiting for some friends to arrive. But I did ask, what's the water healing ceremony or water healing ritual? And apparently, just at that exact moment, there was a ritual all around the world where people blessed the water in the world, which was, yeah, a unique experience. And yeah, of course, I didn't know what was going on, but they asked if I wanted to join in, and if you get a chance like that, you join in, of course. The ritual involved some chanting. We had to bless the water in the river, the water in the seas, the oceans, the water in our bodies. Apparently there's water in the sun we had to bless. I didn't know that, so it was a learning experience for me. And yeah, it was a very weird and awkward but still fun experience. We then threw some minerals and some herbs into the water, and yeah, eventually had a nice chat with those people. They were also artists doing all kinds of stuff, and yeah, they were really down to earth and fun people. So that was my first real experience in Oregon, which was yeah, quite unique but very fun. Then after a while, the other flippers finally arrived. Aslo arrived first, then Faulty, and after a while the rest arrived. Yeah, that's the first part of my story. Very happy to finally meet the flippers, because yeah, they're a fun bunch. They're really, yeah, it's very strange to meet up with people who are so like-minded. I'm pretty much, well, I'm not an outsider, but I don't have many people I can talk to about knives, or who don't freak out when I start flipping knives. And there in Oregon, you can carry a knife, which is already strange, and you can flip in public, something I'm not used to. Every time you were recording outside, I was nervous, because if I would do that where I live, I would get arrested. There, people didn't even turn their head. That was probably the most strange thing I experienced there. Just the different mentality towards, well, what we call weapons, which are actually tools. But yeah, it's so strange that you're able to flip in public, flail a knife around, that you have to carry it in if you carry it in public, it has to be visible. Well, here, if you carry something I do not, you always want to conceal it, because it's just not done. And yeah, that's very, very unique. It was a very strange experience for me, and I didn't really get used to it. Yeah, I always had in the back of my head, oh, better watch out, better make sure nobody sees this. So yeah, and that was very unique. I also went to Walmart, which is also a weird experience. I know Walmart from the people from Walmart, and yeah, it's not an exaggeration, to be honest. It is something you have to do if you ever visit the US. I bought a special cap there. I have it right here. It is a NASCAR cap, which I do wear every now and then. People don't know it's NASCAR because, yeah, it's Europe here, so I don't get many questions, and it's if you don't know if you can make that out, a Tony Stewart hat, and I've been told that Tony Stewart is a very good NASCAR driver, and pretty much a pretty cool dude, so I'm not ashamed to wear his cap. Other than that, if I want to say something negative about the US, it's your breakfast. The breakfast I had at the first place I stayed and the second were horrible. I don't know how it's possible to mess up a breakfast, but apparently you can. The other food was good. I ate there. It's just yeah, tasty food. We went to a place called Steelhead, which was a brewery, one of those micro breweries, and they had very good food there. But for some reason, your breakfast is horrible, really horrible. Your cereal is way too sweet. Your bread is just horrible. Really, I don't know how you eat that. It's the only experience I had, the only really negative thing about food, about what I ate there, was just terrible breakfast. But anyway, what else do I want to say? Yeah, we pretty much did some recording. Of course, the knife show itself. I've been to a few knife shows, and EOKCA definitely was bigger than all the other knife shows I went to before. A lot of nice people, and the strangest thing is I got recognized by some people, which is very strange, because yeah, people knew me as Slash and Cut, and it's, yeah. A few people mentioned or asked me if I was Slash and Cut, or oh yeah, you're Slash and Cut. The most extreme case, well, not extreme, the most well, there was a moment where I was a bit starstruck when Eric Glesser, he introduced himself, and yeah, he knew who I was, and he was able to describe very detailed stuff from particular flipping videos of me, and yeah, I was a bit starstruck, a bit baffled that yeah, people actually watch my videos, because I don't put that much effort in them. I just record them, and that's it. I cut, I paste, and I put some music under it, and that's my editing. Same with this thing. I probably won't even edit anything about this video, and people actually do pay attention. It's, yeah, it was a nice, warm and fuzzy feeling to hear that. Yeah, then the competition was extremely stressful. Flipping in public is something I do not do, and there I had to flip in front of an audience. It was a very nerve-wracking experience. The most nerve-wracking thing I ever did in my life. I'm not really a nervous person, but flipping in public in front of people is just something else. Especially if you're competing against fake Spiderfly and Phoenix Fire, which well, pretty much is the top of the flipping world. You really want to beat them, but you're so scared to humiliate yourself or drop your knife, and yeah, it's very weird but very fun. I really hope I get a chance to do a live competition again. After the competition we did a small bit of recording, but the end of my trip was nearing, and the last day was really sad for me, because I was not sure if I would ever see any of the American flippers again, actually. And yeah, they're all a bunch of fun people. Yeah, everyone who I met there was extremely friendly and extremely fun to be with. Trying to remember who was there. Vincent Dark, of course, Phoenix Fire, Fake Spiderfly, Assflow, Mittens, Quintoceros. I hope I'm not forgetting someone. Oh, of course, Faultyply, which is also, he's a huge dude. He's a giant. I'm very short. That's something everyone reminded me. I'm now 5'6", 5'7", and everyone I met really thought I was way bigger. I don't know why. Apparently in my videos I seem like a giant, but I'm very short. It was a bit humiliating actually. But if I stood next to Faultyply, who is just a giant, I looked even shorter. Maybe that's why people thought I was so short, because I stood next to him or something. But anyway, very fun experience. But the story doesn't end there. When I went to the airport, I decided to talk to Mittens, who was still there, instead of checking in, and was the last person to check in on my flight. And apparently my flight got overbooked, so I was a bit panicky because I didn't know what the consequences were. The lady at the desk told me to wait for half an hour while she made a few phone calls. After that, she explained me, yeah, the flight was overbooked. I had to stay for another 2 days in the US. I had to stay another day in Eugene, then fly from Eugene to Seattle, stay there for another day, and then fly to Paris. And yeah, I was a bit shocked because I didn't really know what to do. And then suddenly she told me, yeah, as a compensation you get a check of $1,300 and your hotels and meals are paid for. And then everything was alright, of course, because yeah, I was afraid I had to pay for my hotels, but that wasn't the case. And I got a free $1,300 check, which pretty much covered the well, covered my trip, so I was extremely happy, even though I had to stay for 2 days in hotels, but that wasn't too bad. The first hotel I had to stay in Eugene was the Valley River Inn, which is a very nice place to stay. It was very luxurious, well, not luxurious, but it was a very pleasant stay there. And then the hotel in Seattle was alright. But the big problem was I didn't have any money left, and I didn't have my luggage with me. When I checked in, I didn't have my luggage. It was already on the plane, and I didn't have any clothes, and I really needed to change clothes because yeah, they were smelly. So I needed to cash in the check, and of course I asked at the desk at the hotel where there was a bank, and excuse me, I thought if I go to a bank I can cash in a check and yeah, Bob's your uncle, but that wasn't the case, because if you go to a bank you have to make an account before you can actually get your money. And of course I didn't want to make an account just for cashing it in a check, so they sent me to a Cash Express. And they couldn't help me there, but they told me to go to another place which is the same as a Cash Express, but yeah, different branch or something like that. Took a cab there, and yeah, they decided to help me there, but it wasn't that simple, because you have to give a lot of information. First of all, they doubted if it was really me who was cashing in the check, even though I had my passport, so they asked for extra ID. Luckily I had all my cards I have from Europe with me, so they believed me. But then they needed a bunch of information, like where do I live? Okay, that's no problem, I gave them my address. But then they needed information like what's your state? And of course we don't work with states, so I had to improvise a bit there. And then they asked for my social security number, which is well, it's differently ordered in well, the order of the numbers is different in the US than in Europe. So, and yeah, it's pretty hard because it's with a computer file. They have to put in the information there, so it's not that you can fill in a paper where you can add a few boxes or yeah, make the thing work. It actually has to fit into the computer file, which is very annoying. But after about 45 minutes we finally found a way to get me my money. I had to pay 6% to the Cash Express, which was ridiculous. But anyway, I got my money, was able to buy a bit of clothing to get changed, and yeah, eventually had a nice stay in, well, one day in Oregon still, and the other in Seattle. Then I went home, went to Paris, couldn't find my luggage there, because it arrived before I was there, so I thought I lost everything, but in the end the people at the airport dropped off my luggage at my house, so that was a very nice experience. So anyway, that's my story. I'm getting a bit tired and I don't know what else I can mention. I hope it was a bit entertaining. I'll make sure that my other vlog videos will be a bit shorter, but I didn't really plan this one out. But I hope you enjoyed the story, and have a nice day. If you have any questions or anything, just post them in the comments. See ya.